And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Captain Future Show. Tonight with special guests of mine, Ka and Bree. And we're going to talk a little bit about identity and roles we play, especially in the old society. Formerly in the old society, that the one that's on hold now, but also discussing what roles do we need in the coming type of society and what can we invent and play with now. So it's going to be a discussion on playfulness, roles, identities, mask we wear, armors we wear. I have been in so many interesting sessions this week. One with the old male group where we discussed the armor we wear. Then then it's armor when we talk to guys. So, but another session when we talked about the masks and stuff like that. And I've been me and my regular guest Flores, we have been using lots of different masks in this show before, just to play around and fool around that. But the whole topic has been interesting me for since 1995 when I first saw a movie called Ghost in the Shell, the Japanese animated movie, and it's about a girl who is a full cyborg, and she has existential thoughts about if she is a real human, because her face is a made up cyborg face, and she reflects about what's her true identity when she is not wearing her real face, and she doesn't even know if what her real face is anymore because she's been a cyborg for long and stuff like that. So then things like this started interesting me really, and then came the Matrix that's asked a lot of questions, especially the thing that got me in the Matrix was the subject of what they call residual self-image. That in the Matrix you can choose to project yourself and become as cool as you want to be. They started wearing like dark sunglasses and dark leather coats and stuff like that, and I was really shy back then, but it was then I got my hair cut and I went out and bought a black leather rock and everything and started playing with this, and I really started enjoying this part of me and become less shy and stuff like that. So that's why since then I've been playing and toying with different identities over the years. And about 4 years ago, me and a couple of friends came up with the identity that is the Captain Future. So I was already very interested in everything future, constantly blogging and talking about it. And we did the ULab course together, me and a couple of girls, and we had one session, coaching circle, where the subject is who shall I become, and that was the question I asked them, and they came up with the identity of Captain Future for me. So. And since then, I found this is the one true identity. This is me. So it's not something I play. It's the process of it is as me becoming so generally Captain Future that is part of my natural self. So that's the play and the role I'm aiming for when I call myself Captain Future. So. Yeah, and that's about me. And how about you, Carl? What's your thoughts and feelings about roles and identities? We all have them. Like you're a mother and I'm a father. That's definitely a role we play. And people says that's a role we are born to play because it's been so for millions of years that we are animals and now mammals, and we play the role of parent. We nurture our young, so that's a role we're born to do. But there are other roles we play: business roles, play roles, identity roles when we go into different friendship circles and hobbies and stuff like that. So some interesting in you first, Ka.
Yeah. Wow, that's such a huge topic.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I remember about roles and me uh, was like really criticizing the concept of necessity of roles. So I learned to be a social therapist over years in integrative therapy, and we had quite a lot of stuff about roles, like the role of a therapist and the role of a patient or client, and how to be in this role and how to be in that role. And that it's necessary to be aware of roles. And I always rejected that. I always had the feeling like, why do I need to wear this hat? Can't I just be me? And that was a I know that it changed over time. And then I was like, yeah, roles are super important. And it's very important that you're aware of which hat you're wearing and through which voice you're speaking, and be really clear on the box you're in right now. and then I threw it all over again and said, come forget about these roles. Just show the fuck up, right? Who you are with everything that you bring. And then it's still, now I integrated it somehow. So I can see that there is something that is different with me when I'm here and different with me when I'm there. And that I can speak from different perspectives, and that these perspectives carry my past and also my envisioned future with me, and that some of them I like and some of them I don't like. And if you address me like this, it's easier for me to step in or not. And also I can absolutely see that there is something that's called role conflict, for example. If I hold two perspectives at the same time and they have differing opinions or views or perspectives, that it's important to make this transparent and to also show up with these. And it's probably, if you talk like, and you say, if you share about you being Captain Future, then I can share about me being Ka, because that's not the name that I have been given when I stepped onto this planet. And I carried that name since 1993, and a group of very, very good friends. It emerged in a group with very good friends when I met them for the first time, and something for me shifted when I was addressed with that, and I carried it for, I don't know, like 15 years after that. And then I try to switch back to my given name, to my birth name, and like develop a professional self identity, whatever, and be like a sincere person, not with such a weird nickname. And then I tried that out for some years again, and it didn't work for me. I was like, no, I'm Ka. I remember that the time in my life where I felt whole and best and could like fully show up with all the complexity within me was with this name. And then I switched back to it, and that was irritating for a lot of people, especially in the work and professional work context. They're like, you can't just name yourself different now. Yeah, I can, pretty much. And it's weird. Like we had a warm data session today where we've been talking about what is continuing, and we were diving into what is continuing, and that calls for what is discontinuing as well. And we discovered how important it is to have rites of passage. And I'm just, while talking here, wondering of how could a rite of passage look like when we step into different roles, or when we speak from different perspectives. And also, this roles thing falls short on the interrelational aspect, and the identity thing falls short on the interrelational aspect. And actually, right now, we're this one system, right? I want to embrace you and Bree. I would love to like show that we're like this one system of interrelatedness right now, where our identities merge on the right on the outskirts and we tune into each other, and I'm a different Ka now than I'm when I go out and go to sleep. Yeah, and then that's a question that I hold as well. How can we integrate that fluidity into the interbeingness of the roles that we hold and the identities that we hold?
Yeah, and all the very interesting you say. And like the thing I've been thinking but I've been in a couple of online calls with you in different types of events during the last couple of weeks, and also with you, Bri. And what really hit me was just this week when we were on a call for Earth Day, me and Ben Roberts. It was just us showing up at first, and I started playing. I was on my computer, then I added my iPad, and then he added his second computer, and he called himself also Ben Roberts on the second one. So then I started calling myself Ben Roberts the third, Ben Roberts the fourth and I joined on my iPhone, and then he started calling me not Ben Roberts and also not Ben Roberts. So we started playing with the tiles we use in Zoom. And I haven't seen that until today with a session. We had a fantastic session with Phoebe today where everyone was supposed to go into a different kind of animal or spirit or element here on Earth or something like that. And since I've already done this, I quickly changed my title to, I was the Space Otter was the thing I came up with. I changed my title to Space Otter, and Phoebe quickly jumped on that and made everyone change their name to the animal or the element or something they changed to. It was really funny seeing, I think it was 31 people all changing the titles, and you at first it was really confusing, but then it was hit home, because then we really understood that just changing the title in a Zoom call makes for a different energy in that Zoom room, and it really worked.
Yeah, we also used the land that we were on in a call around Indigenous peoples, and really acknowledging the land that we were on. So I thought that was also a really interesting take. We changed that in our names as well. So our identities and honoring the space that we're in and the peoples that we're interacting with.
So welcome, Bri. This is your first time on the Captain Future Cast. Been there before, but maybe both of you can give a short introduction who you are and what you do. What roles do you play? So you can start, Bri.
My name is Bri Doan, and I work in communications and photography and videography. So I've taken on a role of storyteller, but I feel like in this time, our identities are also really connected to the moment and what is the moment asking us to be. And so I've been finding that sometimes it's asking me to be a good neighbor, or sometimes it's asking me to bring people together virtually to create community in this space where we're all separated. So now I'm really thinking about those roles of like, what is this moment calling you to do, and how do we step into the role of the moment or the needs of the moment?
Interesting. Yeah. And it's so funny, like we had a long discussion with many friends that when you ask people who they are, they always start with their work title. Right. And that's why I laughed.
Yeah.
It's so built into us, like we can't escape it. It's very hard to escape that.
But I think I'm many things. I think I change every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you think about the work titles that I've had throughout my whole lifetime, it's very interesting. We all play a lot of different roles.
And what about you, Ka? What roles would you present us with tonight? You're choosing.
I am a daughter. I am a mother. I am a friend. I am an ex-wife. I am a trickster. I am a magician. I am a harvester. I am a storyteller. I am a body sack on planet Earth. I am Stardust. I'm a scout. I'm a guitar player. I'm a drummer. I was a fakir. That's long ago. I was a gas station clerk. That's long ago. I'm a game player. I love to play games, especially role-playing games, fantasy role-playing games. That's long ago too, but I still am. I'm a singer. I'm a Captain Future Show attendant, recently quite often.
Yeah.
It's the second time. And when I say harvester, like coming back to what I do at the moment a lot is I try to host spaces where people can have good conversations. So I do host warm data sessions, and I'm a graphic facilitator or visual facilitator. So what my claim, what I put on when I sign up for things at the moment is witnessing, and I got that from Bayo Akomolafe, which I appreciate a lot. Witnessing desirable futures. That's my overall role claim that connects many things.
that's just a small amount, I guess, as well.
So. That's just a small amount, and yeah. I'm sure that you both will jump in with the same amount of
what do you, Bree? What comes up to you when you hear Cars?
When I hear what?
When you hear Car talking about all the different role identities.
Oh, yeah. I think I play a lot of different roles. Yeah, and I think as well, it depends on the people that you surround yourself with. I just had an environmental discussion, but then I could be gathered with some friends playing categories online, and then I'm the comic and the humorist, and I think it really depends. I've done work that's been involved with community development, and I've also been really more of an entertainer. I've done performing arts and theater and dance and music, and so I feel like I play these various roles of being like very serious and then being very creative and playful. Yeah, going back and forth.
Going back and forth, yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing I'm thinking most about is, like, in this time of crisis, especially, like I talked about the roles we now play in our different Zoom and video calls, but also what is the new roles that's can emerge or will emerge, or we want to emerge in this time of crisis. I've had done like several hours of this myself, so I'm mostly interested in hearing what you think, Ka and Bree, on this. You want to go first, Ka?
The new roles that are emerging. Yeah, decomposing agent, systems death facilitator, chrysalis fosterer.
You have to type all this down, Me and Flores have a long list of made up roles. So I'm not typing this down, but please type them down after when we listen to this.
I might remember what I said.
Yeah. This is on Facebook and YouTube, so you can listen to this part. It's 20 minutes in. Remember that, and we will have to remember all the roles we come up with because.
Okay. Yeah. Relating to building up what we had last time, like the breathing in, breathing out story. That would be like someone who takes care of the backflow of money into nature, right? And then a cuddle party organizer.
Cuddle party organizer.
Totally, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then a community garden planting party people. That's it for now.
That's it, huh? And you, Bree, what?
I think we really need the visionaries and the dreamers and the builders and the community organizers. And how can we reshape what we have? We're almost being given this gift of a reset button and a time to really reflect. And in that sense, we can look at it as devastating, or we can look at it as a chance to come together and build something new. So I'm really excited of what's going to emerge out of this. There's definitely been a lot of information about that people after disasters will often come together in community and in this sense of resiliency. So, I would like to see what we would like to build together as a world community in this time. And I think that we also need the people that are bringing community together and that are, talking to their neighbors. Like I had some neighbors do a social distancing gathering in the street. So, even that is like, oh, okay, how can we bring people together and support one another?
Exactly. Fantastic. And you just said that word, social distancing. Like all the mainstream media use it now, but we really try to say physical distancing.
Physical distancing.
Yeah. But so is that a new role as well? People who facilitate physical distancing and also facilitate the social togetherness that we do online now. Is that a growing role? The online host for all these Zoom calls and Zoom events. We've been in a couple events, so each one of us. So what's your thought about that? Is there some new role of that is going to become full time of the online Zoom call host?
I think so. I think it's definitely needed. I think humans need to have community. And so, we need the gatherers, we need the conversationalists, we need the people that have new ideas and new insights. I think we need it. I don't know. I'm realizing for myself, I was like, I think I'm more social now than I was before in this time. And so I'm kind of realizing, oh, maybe I would step into that role as community organizer, facilitator, because I really enjoy it. So.
Yeah. And Yuka, what's your thoughts about the events you've been in so far and the roles that is emerging there?
The meetings, you mean?
Yeah, like the Emerge gathering online and the creative event that we were in Germany. I'm sure you've been in others as well. So what do you notice when you are in these events?
how important collaboration is, and how important trust is, and how important it is to realize that this is not a screen I'm talking to, but that you're actually really here behind the screen in different realities, right? So so in every bigger meeting that we have, I see it's so important that we're co-hosts. So when I would probably bring in the fourfold practice of the art of hosting here. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
So
but sum it up for people who haven't.
yeah. So the fourfold practice is that I learn to host myself, so that to take care of myself and be responsible for myself. That's the first practice. And the second is that I learn to be hosted. So thank you, Captain Future, for hosting us here. And how can I be hosted in a good way? And how can I appreciate you taking the lead and stepping into the hosting role? And the third practice is, oops, something is happening here. I need to there.
Yeah.
Good. And the third practice is that I learn to host. So I learn to step into this hosting role and hold a session or a meeting or speak or share a knowledge, something like that. And that I do that while I appreciate you being hosted, while I do host myself at the same time. And the fourth practice, and that is what I experience at the moment and what I appreciate so much when it really happens, is the collaborative space and role, that we step into doing all of this in a fluidity within ourselves at the same time. So I host myself while I'm being hosted by all of us, while I do step into my leadership position if it's called, and I'm being silent again, and let you take the lead when it's on, right? And that is probably this fourfold practice holders, practitioners. This is the role that we're called into in this time, online and offline.
Yeah.
And being hosted means I can be hosted by Earth. Right? I like
Yeah.
that.
We're trying to get Christiana from Greece online here, but the internet is not working. So
Yeah.
sorry, Christiana.
You can join.
No, it doesn't work, she says here in the private chat. So. Yeah. And we have some interesting comments here as well from people listening here, I can see. We are social animals and we need personas, roles, avatars to be able to feel safe in our interaction with others. We have, from the moment we are born, an id that others made for us. I think we deserve the right to make our own id or ids and do our own metamorphosis. Yeah, exactly. So that's what, like, the three of us has been playing a lot with, a lot of roles and identities, and just the awareness around it. I mean, I have many friends. I try to talk with them about this, but there's like, you can see that they have never really thought about it. And when I start saying that you play a role when you go to work, some even become mad. I don't play roles. This is me, and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what I think is very important. How can we increase the awareness around this? Because then you can like disconnect yourself from the behavior you have in one role, and then you can build that type of awareness of around your own behavior in different situations, especially when you get emotionally aroused. That's very hard elsewhere. It's not to be aware of yourself and the role you play especially when you're emotionally aroused. But it can be both the positive emotion or the negative emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think people get really stuck in one identity, and instead of thinking that it's like many identities, it's not one.
It's not one.
Yeah, and that we're not just our work identity, but we are who we are as a friend, who we are as a family member, who we are as a community member. You know, just the energy that we emit to others, the things we love to do. So I was asking that question to myself when this first started happening, because as many people have had to stop doing certain activities that define them, and myself included, it's like, well, who am I now? Who am I now that I can go and do events photography? Who am I now? I can't go, support friends of mine that are playing live music. Bring community together in a physical space, for example. And I think we're all going to have to go through those questions, and then who do we want to become in this time?
Yeah.
And really reflect on that.
Yeah.
I'm just also thinking what a privilege it is to be able to choose between many roles and many identities. And yeah, how much space and time I have, and actually also resources I have to make up my mind about that. And that there's loads of beings that do not have that space to choose between so many different perspectives and roles and identities. And yeah, I would love for special people, for example, also a lot of leaders that are leading countries at the moment, or holding strong political positions, to reflect upon their roles. Do
you think anyone in particular who's playing a bad version of the role?
Who do they want to be remembered as?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't come up with a single person now.
No, not really. It was just hypothetically.
Yes, hypothetically, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, is that how much space do I have when I hold such a role to reflect upon my different identities? Right. If I look at Obama, for example, who was playing the role and identity thing with the father and the husband and the president of the United States in a beautiful way, but that needs to you need to be really developed and aware to be able to hold that. Like, for example, if I look at our chancellor in Germany, she is the leader of the country, and that's it. Like, she's the leader of the country, and she's barely showing her private opinion or position or the just person, the just human that she is. It comes through from time to time. She said something a few days ago where I was like, wow, okay, that was really personal. But how much space do you have actually when your one role and identity takes up so much space, no matter whether you're absolutely in poverty and you just need to make a living, or you hold a position where your role eats up everything that you are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm of course also thinking about Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. I don't know if you have seen the clip when she sits in her kitchen sofa, just putting her children to bed in her some kind of hoodie or something like that, and she's clearly in the mother role when she addresses the whole world live on Facebook, and that's so fantastic to be able to do that with authenticity as well. So.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen that for a lot of talk show hosts and entertainers. They have their children there, and children are interacting with their work, and it's interesting because even though we're separated, we have more knowledge of the multiple roles that people play and that integration between professional life and personal life. And I think it's, in a way, there's a little more intimacy there and knowledge of the whole person.
Yeah, there's a fantastic short clip where Stephen Colbert and the Last Week Tonight John Oliver, they're interacting. Stephen Colbert in full suit, but John Oliver in a hoodie. But then Stephen Colbert has to show that he doesn't wear shoes, so he pulls up his like they do here. There we go, barefoot. I'm barefoot. Like a hobbit, he says, or something.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, you all know that he's a big fan of hobbits and Lord of the Rings. Then it becomes funny as well. So
I'm sure there are plenty of people that are holding lots of meetings half dressed.
Half dressed, yeah. Top up, suit, top down, nothing.
This is so good when we can show up freely. Like, I really, when you ask the question, Brie, like, who do I want to be? That's also the question, who do I want to hang out with, and who do I want to work with, and
Right.
who do I want to show up for? And it's so good to be with people where you can just bring in your complexity, right? And you don't have to, like, I always have this picture that you enter a room with your whole complexity, and then you take off the mother and hang it onto the hook of the wardrobe, right? And then you take off the sister, and then you take off the actually a huge part of your human being, and then you go into this meeting where you have to show up as this professional person that can only say growth and and can't cry anymore, and can't fart anymore, and can't laugh anymore, and that's not what I want to do anymore. I want to be with people who appreciate that I am this complex being, and where I can yawn in the meeting and say, guys, I'm really tired, I need to go to bed now. And people go like, yeah, sure, we'll hold space for you, or something like that. Or I can burst into laughter and show something weird, or get up and stretch during the meeting because it's like really, we've been sitting here for hours. And this is what I want to be, where we can appreciate life and don't have to take like 35 roles that we have and put them in a box before we enter a room.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
Maybe this will create a more sense of authenticity, because we are juggling all those different roles at the moment.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like the event today, when I came up with a new role, and like imaginary role, of course, but all roles starts as imaginary in some way. So that's also like the playfulness we can do. Like I talked about not being Ben Roberts before in the Space Otter role and something. Have you experienced something like that when you like start playing and come up with new roles, like during a live Zoom meeting or something like that? Of course, if the situation professionally allows it.
I mean, I haven't on video, but I was joking where, we're supposed to wear bandanas when we go to the store. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just dress up in costume, be like a cowgirl or something, and wear the bandana and be like the cowgirl grocery shopper. The entertainment of it, since we have to put things on our face anyway, why not play another role?
Yeah, I have a friend who I talk to a lot, and he works in IT, but now he works from home, and he's a cosplayer, so he has all kinds of crazy stuff at home. Like he's a good. If you're watching Ronnie, you will see this. He's a steampunker, so he has lots of different steampunk costumes and otherwise, so Western pirates and stuff like that. And in every Zoom call with work, he dresses up just to make things silly. And it's so amazing. He posts all the pictures on Facebook, so it's very, So if you find Ronnie, my friend, you will find his pictures, some of them at least.
I love
like,
it. Yeah, I think people need to laugh. You
Mm.
know, I have a friend that's sending me all these funny videos, and it's like laughter therapy. It's so wonderful.
Mm.
Just funny things people are doing right now.
So do you think we should try to keep it up so we don't go back to the boring business world of suits and no smiles?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Some of us are playing with backgrounds too. All the backgrounds and moving them around so it looks like you're jumping up and down.
Yeah. I have a friend who is a professor on here in Sweden, and he every day he posts the different backgrounds. So today it was a feast from Obelix, Asterix and Obelix in his background and stuff like that. So he plays things up as well. So it's very cool to see that. So.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about two things. The one is how lucky I am that I grew up in a family who was playing a lot, and also that I came across fantasy role playing games when I was 12, and I played until I was 30 or something like that, until time wasn't there anymore and it wasn't a priority so much. But like to really keep on playing, because education is stripping us bare naked of roles, right? You just have to be a normal child.
Oh, right.
Right.
No, it's so necessary for creativity.
Yes.
And they're finding out that creativity and innovation is far more important than just, rote memory.
And then we're like, oh my God, we screwed it. How do we get it back? Right.
Right. The real critical thinking piece. And that often comes from play.
Yeah.
We look at this differently or do this, play around with this concept. And then all of a sudden someone has an amazing business idea or innovation or, creative project.
And we have to learn, we have to relearn to play, because the meritocracy was stripping us naked of our ability, our playability, right? So that's something that I just really appreciate, that I never stopped that, and that I had the luxury to be able to never stop that. And the other thing, what I just appreciate, is that I'm founding, or we founded a company together, and it's called Friendy, and we're actually like friends, and we do want to be friends, and we want to be, we're accompanying in a friendship way, right? So not in a professional coach, consultant, blah, way. But just really be friends, and be concerned about how you are and what you do and how you feel, and have a lasting thing going on together. And in one of our last meetings, we were like, how can we make sure
Wait, I have some.
Hey, parrot. That's a white parrot. That's a nice one.
Oh, I have to add to that for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. You were hitting it. Yes.
Of course.
Huh?
It's that time of night.
It's that time of night.
Oh, geez.
Oh, everybody goes immediately back.
Yeah. Of course, you had Sarah Fingerdals there as well.
Yeah, I once bought this beautiful mask, and I never used it on stage.
This is really amazing. This is really, really great. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I went to the Essen board gaming fair 2 years ago, and there was a stall there with hundreds of different leather masks. This was the most not standing out, but the most of them were devil mask with horns and everything. That was amazing. I regret not buying more of those.
That's a nice commedia dell'arte mask.
Yeah.
It is, and I have some mask training, and the fun, of course, is that sometimes with the mask on, you're more real and honest than with the mask off,
Yeah.
because something will live through you, and yeah. But I was dropping in, so I didn't know you were somewhere else. But
I
I thought, let's make
Yeah,
an introduction.
Yeah, welcome, Flores. So you're a
You're
favorite
welcome.
guest of mine here.
It's beautiful.
I just want to share a quote regarding what you said, Carl. Like, there's a guy. I had an interview with Rory Sutherland, and he was in the English advertising business, Ogilvy or something like. He said had a term. He said, "Climbing Mount Silly." To really come up with a good idea, you have to have at least 100 silly ideas, and he called this process called climbing Mount Silly. And one of these ideas turn out to be better than silly, and then you work on that and evolve that. But to really go there, you have to have this process that is called climbing Mount Silly. And John Cleese, of course, talks a lot about creativity and silliness as well. That's my favorite two people on this subject. So.
Yeah, in Nomads, the school I co-founded, where Anna Hanschmidt, a good friend of Ka, has been. There were at some point there were two students who came up with the new values for the schools, and the last value of the 7, I forgot most of them, but this one was the most beautiful one. The value was called unicorn, and the value meant everything. And later, of course, unicorn companies became a meaning in itself, but the meaning at that moment was everything we can't understand or grasp or point at, but still is important anyway, which is the silly mountain. And also, I think another thing in this context is becoming more and more now who is telling the fairy tales? Is that the news people who say we need to have economic austerity, and we can't just keep on feeding the poor, we better kill 200 of them? Or is it the people who said, let's make Europe green and let's do away with capitalism? Yeah, I know it's a fantasy, but hey, let's imagine. I think.
At least you have one leader telling fairy tales.
Yeah, but there's more truth. The fairy tale that we can have an infinite growth on a finite planet. That's a fucking fairy tale.
That's a fairy tale in itself, yeah.
That's suicide.
No, it's not. No, it's not a fairy tale. It's a demon tale.
Exactly.
That has nothing to do with fairies.
Yeah, I need to wash my hair tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I want to come back to my last sentence to finish that, because it fits well. So we thought about how can we disrupt these meetings in order to not ossify the beauty that we have, right? Ossify.
Ossify. What's that mean? That's a word I don't know.
And ossify means to make something a bony structure, like to. That's it. You can't move anymore. It's done. Right. So, and we, Flores is ossified. And we came up with this kind of compact thing. We thought, okay, we are encouraging ourselves to do stupid things in our meetings. Like it's no rule that you have to. It's no rule that every Thursday we're going to do blah. And every full hour we're going to do blah, but it's really like the invitation to behave weird. This is my business. This is my color.
Yeah, you have to loosen it up.
And I love this so much.
Exactly. There you have it. Ossify.
Yeah. Yeah. I missed. I suddenly realized on Wednesday I had missed the beautiful game card that you invented me on. But next Monday another chance, I presume.
Yeah.
And also in the meeting we just came from that Ka's co-hosting, I realized once I was in, I had no clue. Also, there's a different kind of calcification. That's where how people tend to adapt to the style of talking and being that we all do. Yeah, that's for Bree, the class beat game. So what I see is there's this beautiful, warm-hearted talking, and the danger, of course, that everybody talks warm-hearted in the Co-Creating Europe gathering, which is of brilliant people, very intelligent, really interesting. But there's also the danger that we all become too neat, too let's make beautiful moves and gestures and talk from gratitude. Exactly. There's all kinds of, everywhere is the danger of calcification or ossification in everywhere. It's so funny if you do group work and you start with a circle and the first one says, "Hello, my name is Hans und I am a carpenter and I'm 52 and my hobby is cycling." Then the next one will say, "Hello, my name is John and I'm a dentist and my hobby is," that they all follow that pattern. We're so pattern orientated, like herd mentality. And while the diversity is, of course, in that European meeting, but everywhere is essential. And at the same time, if it's too like I sometimes with another guy, we work as fools at a festival. But if we're too chaotic or too breaking the pattern, then it's irritating. So there's a very thin line we can walk to make it smooth and fun. And the health of a group, this is also a big lesson, is determined by the capability to accept the stranger.
I like that.
Oh my God. Watch you don't fall down, Ka. Defying gravity.
Yeah. It's like a Matrix fight.
Yeah.
Yes. So Bree, what's your craziness that you think the world has too little of, and I bring?
Humor. I think we need more humor.
But and that's also what you bring, humor.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't know what you bring because we just met. So
yeah, but I was asking you what is your craziness? How you're very different from others that you bring?
Oh,
your uniqueness. What's
your
your
uniqueness?
My uniqueness.
Yes.
Wow, gosh, so many things. I also have a silly, humorous side to myself. I used to be in a circus and make little kids laugh. So yeah, I don't know. I guess what I was saying before, I have a creative side and then I have a side that is more committed to the community or some kind of change. And yeah, I think I also have a philosophical, reflective side. So
and what philosophical conviction or saying do you have that you think this should more people carry, or you hear yourself often say to other people so that they can grow, expand, learn, or shut up?
Oh, well, I guess I don't feel like I'm like preaching philosophies. I don't know. That's a good question. I guess just thinking about how we can be our best selves and instead of preaching it, modeling that to other people, what we want to see.
That sounds like one.
Yeah.
I am preachy, so so it's very good that there's
Yeah.
people who are not preachy and who tell me once in a while to shut the fuck up. So yes, thank you.
What's your uniqueness that you bring to the table?
I'm a splinter genius, so I have many fragments that can go in any direction, and sometimes it helps, sometimes not. And one of my sayings in life is a mystery, and I have a purpose. So I cannot understand anything and have no. I can never find out the reality or the truth, the truth. But at the same time, I feel there's something I have to do, and it often has to do with bring aliveness, fun, or balance things.
Hmm.
So if everybody's too serious, bring some lightness. If everybody is too careless, bring some weight.
Hmm.
To managers, I bring creativity and playfulness, but to the spiritual community, I may say, come on, guys, be a bit more grounded and real. And or don't be so fuzzy.
I like that.
It's a role.
The balancer.
I perhaps. No, it's not the balancer. It's the balance is a tool. Balancing is a skill. I think it has to do with aliveness, with truth, and for me, it has to do with the playfulness. Because each time I feel when other people slow down and they talk more from deeper truth, then sometimes I'm very touched and I think, oh, why don't have I that capacity to really listen beautiful within? Because that's awesome. And sometimes I get irritated and bored, and that might be me, but it might also be they talk in this way. Like some spiritual people will go, hello, everybody. Let's make inner rest, and then the language tone becomes a trick, and then I go. Yeah, but I may be wrong, or it's sometimes good to play along. So it's always.
Yeah. Should you be the trickster in this space or not? Should you raise questions or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a question at the Trainertage in Germany that was beautiful, and the question was, how can I disturb in a way that I am invited to disturb again?
That's interesting. I have to write it down.
In a way, can you say that again?
How can I disturb in a way that I'm invited to disturb again?
Oh.
I
think that's one of my skills.
Yeah. Same. Or is that something that we share?
Yeah, great.
But I mean, maybe I'm not so really good in spaces where it would be really important.
But that's true. How do you shake up the meeting without getting kicked out forever?
Yeah, I don't do it. I'm not. It's not that I'm kicked out forever. It's rather I'm doing a job and people just they don't get me. They don't. It's like what that she doesn't fit. It's like yeah. They don't take me they don't take me serious. I'm searching for the role that is inviting people in power positions and business people and politicians whatsoever to invite me to consult them, like, you know, or to whatever, that they can learn from me. But I'm too strange. I'm just weird.
Well,
Maybe they're wanting that. Maybe some groups are saying, "Oh, our meetings are boring and unproductive, and how can we really engage people and get the creative juices flowing and allow people to be more honest and authentic in their interactions?"
that's what I get hired for.
Yeah.
But I do want to bring in another story, which feels very contradicting to this one. I've been staff member of this tiny little school in Amsterdam, what Ka knows about, and one of the students there committed suicide, which is deeply shocking to the whole system. And he had not been to school, and there was a guy who was already ungrounded when he arrived at school. Perhaps he lived longer because of the school. But when he committed suicide, all the students were in the ring, and this is a very essential thing because the whole school is broken. It's a very tiny community, and one of them steps out. And one after the other students, as in the example what I just tell, people follow suit, told them how sad it all was. And during that circle, I felt irritated. So when it was my turn, I said, what an asshole. What a fucking selfish asshole. And everybody's shocked because it went through the pattern. So this is disturbing the pattern. It's really disturbing because we're all in sadness, and there goes Floris, what the fuck? But after that, it helped them to allow that all emotions were okay, and not just the, oh my God, this is terrible, and I must also find this terrible, where several were probably not feeling really that. And after I had done that, the diversity exploded. And so there were even at the end some jokes about him, which I think any good funeral has also jokes, because then the celebration of somebody's life. So disturbance can have many different faces. And it takes courage to take the risk.
Yeah.
And I took often the risks, and I died 1,000 times on stage in front of groups. And for a long while, I thought, this is a terrible talent. Why can't I be genius in something? But
Or normal.
Or normal, yeah. But after 1,000 times dying in front of groups, I felt, hey, I have the courage to do things. I dare to break the system. And I have a rather good feeling sometimes of what lives in a group, or what may work or not. So breaking the system takes courage, and deeper listening to yourself, what you can add or contribute.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I've been working on as well. Like, can I show up at the serious business event dressed like I usually do in my Captain Future suit and hair and everything? And some people, of course, doesn't say anything, but there's some that actually came up to me when I was in Pakistan now and said, we were going to meet one of the education minister and some other minister, and said he can't show up like that. And then Rehan said, of course he can. He's Captain Future. That's his whole role and purpose, to actually show up like that.
Yeah.
And that really hit home for me.
The status quo.
Yeah. But like you said, many people have the same amount of fear for death like they have for public speaking, because it's built into us. If you do something stupid in front of the tribe and the whole tribe ostracize you into the wilderness, you're dead. So it's a real fear.
Yeah. I heard that more people are afraid of public speaking than of dying.
Not literally, but it's it's a funny joke.
That's one.
But it's close to.
Yeah. And I don't have that fear anymore.
Me neither. And that's like when you think about the role and identity you play when you go up on a stage as well. I've grown into the role. I am Captain Future when I talk on stage, and it's not a role I play because it's myself. I've been growing myself into this role, so I don't have to be scared of not playing the role when I'm on stage because it is always me.
Mm.
How big can a role become? Which parts of my identity can a role hold? Or how many things can I show up with at the same time?
Yeah.
Can I be totally silly and absolute business professional? How and what does it? And there we come back to the interrelational thing. So the interrelational means I can only show here what you're capable of seeing, because it's not that I'm separated from you, right? It's not that you see me, but it's a mutual process of making sense and reality at the same time. So what does that say about identity and roles? How much is the interrelational space aware? How much are we aware of it? And how much, how can I learn to be in this space where it's totally okay to do weird stuff, but would it be okay to show up in a business dress and sit here the whole time like that? Would you think I would be totally weird if I would even say cool things? And how much does the interrelational space allow us to be free and to move and to show up in variety, right? And it's not only me who needs to be capable of embracing different identities. It's also the Gegenüber. How do you say that in the person across the
you guys,
the other person,
Right.
and you out there watching this,
the other participants,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's also how your identity is perceived by others and reflected back.
Yeah. So this is not our responsibility alone. We're not alone in this, but
Right.
Now, there's a saying in the fool's work, which is everybody is somebody else's fool. So whatever you do in life, somebody will tell somebody, you know what Brie does? She goes with these Europeans on the channel and she's totally crazy. Somebody will say, well, if you want to succeed in life, not like Captain Future. Everybody is somebody else's fool.
Mm.
And that's what the rest decides. It's not, you have no control over it, what people think of you. And that can be very positive. Sometimes I also have, Floris, you're the answer, to my problems. That's also terrible.
You know everything.
And of course, it is nice for my ego. My ego loves it, but I know it's not healthy. And at the same time, our body system sometimes wants to do harder work to get this than although there are people in the world who are very, very much better at this. I used to be very good at that, at holding up people up and keeping them out. And if we would play a game of Risk, I would be very quickly the most hated one in the game board, because that's
So what happens when I does this, Floris? No, you're not on screen anymore. I'm holding you up.
You now.
It's only me. No, you.
That's
I will compensate. It's only you now, Floris.
Yeah.
Just the power relationships.
Yeah. Only I can play that. You don't have that tool right here.
No.
I have that in the bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
I once was. This actually happened to me. It was beautiful. In front of 200 people, I got the microphone and on the stage on my own. So there I went. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, the power I have with this mic. And then there was a technician who put the music out and that of my sound off and got loud music in. So the whole room is laughing because it was very good, very
Good.
educational.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I shared a quote also for this show that reads like this: "I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am."
Oh.
It takes it takes several decades to get around that, but if you can do it in a couple of minutes, I'll share it in the chat here so people can read it.
There's a Gestalt test.
Mhm.
So I'm going to play with one, but the other two can listen in and then think them for themselves. So the test is first: what animal would you most love to be? And who wants to do it out loud? To play out loud?
Sure.
Yeah, Bree was first with the sound. So Bree. Okay, what animal would you most love to be?
I've always wanted to be a sloth.
Okay, and why?
Life. Just eating leaves and sleeping and being really peaceful. Seems very relaxing.
Yeah. The others can now also think what they would love to be. But sadly, I have bad news and why. This is important. But Bree, sadly, that cannot be. So if you can't be the sloth, what animal would you then most love to be?
Oh. Well, I've always loved like tigers and leopards, the big cats.
And why a big cat?
I think because they're powerful and mysterious. Yeah.
Great. And bad news. You also can't be the tiger or big cat. So for the last time, what would you then most love to be?
A dolphin.
Oh, why?
Because they're playful and they talk with each other.
Now see that Ka's writing down. Now comes the thing. The first you say is your ideal, what you wish to be. The second, this in the therapy, it says the second is how other people perceive you.
Ooh.
And the third is who you really are. So your ideal would be no fuss, lazy, nothing. There are people who perceive you as dangerous as a big cat, mysterious, they don't get you. And given that you're in this circle, I realize that, although I've already seen your dolphin side very clearly when you came up with all the things on your fingers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's clearly there, but I think sometimes in professional situations, the cat is there. Is that true?
I think so.
Yeah. There's
You're so funny.
And so for Ka, the same. The idea is to change colors, to be then how people perceive you, and that's also as facilitator. You're high up, you have the overview. You must maintain a certain careful status in that sense, and then
also hold the
space exactly.
Be very careful.
And then when you're amidst people like Captain Future, the otter comes free.
Yeah, of course.
The otter, the dolphin.
And the dolphins, etc.
Yeah.
It's a nice game.
I like that.
Yeah, and it relates to this. There's the quote: "I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am."
Right,
That's
because we
true.
step into the role of what we think the other person wants.
And there's the interrelational space again, right? And it's so important. It's my perception of your perception of my perception, and it's wanting to be liked, and it's what I think, what you might think about me, and how you just fit into it's not assumptions, it's expectations, right?
And that play.
And
like
I think,
it comes
therefore the third part is also total bullshit.
It's not true, it's just words.
If you try to live that third part, then yes. But if you think fuck it and follow your inner truth, then there's truth. And I have given up on to decide or determine or frame who I am, because it takes a lot of time. And I think for young people, it's very important to do it for a while, to question and give it words, etc. But every word is a prison.
Yeah. Every word is a frame and a box.
Yes.
And that's why humans, our language is both the fantastic invention of language, but also the fantastic limitation of language, and both time.
The Tao that can be mentioned is not the real Tao.
Yeah. And I love the quote from Nora Bateson. We mentioned No Warm Data before. She has a quote that says, "Where is the edge of me? Where do I end and where do you begin?"
Yeah. And also in the interrelational space that I liked what Kara mentioned very much. I learned so much from two people, friends of mine. One was a woman who could tell how she was, her soul was ripped apart. So she would tell very honestly what her inner struggles were. And the other was a friend who was a brilliant piano player. So if you would listen to it, you would think, fuck, he can play. And the thing was, this woman that told how she was ripped apart is like standing this at the bottom of a cliff, a ravine, and has choice, shall I go there or there up? I'm lost. To other people, she was immensely strong because she dared to share her soul. But that didn't help her out of the self-doubt and pain. She was just so fucking powerful to others in how she dared to share.
Yeah.
And this piano playing friend, he thought he was a lousy piano player because he heard what it could have been, not what he was actually playing. So sometimes our biggest gift is how others perceive us if we are true to ourselves. And we cannot even enjoy it because we think it's still shit or shite or not good enough. And I think this is has for me an immense insight to not care so much what others think, but be true. And in life, then it happens that those that like it come more to you, and those that think it's bullshit or terrible, they move at a bigger distance.
Yeah. I think it also helps us sometimes to hear the feedback that's positive, because we are often our worst critic. And so when people come and reflect back, like as you're saying with the pianist, of I thought that was amazing, or that really inspired me, I think that it gives us a chance to reevaluate and say, oh, maybe I'm being too hard on myself, and maybe this other perception or reality is part of the equation.
If you can receive that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Oh, it's now I'm stumbling over the word compliment. What it consists of. Like when you go to the roots of the word, it makes something whole, right? It's complementary, or it's bringing things together for myself.
It completes the circle.
Or in art, it's the complementary color is actually the opposite.
Yeah. But how does
But that ties, then the word ties beautifully in what Carl said before. If complement is complementary, then the complement is complementary to my self-image.
Yeah. And it's so difficult to take, right?
And then it can be very healing.
And that.
As long as you can distinct it from how you call it, ass licking or
Right.
Sucking up.
flattery, sucking up.
Dancing, whatever.
Authentic or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does the word authentic mean then? I
Like,
call myself authentic, but
the
what does it really mean?
no, not trying to be false.
I once gave a workshop, authentic leadership, to a group of managers, and I had no clue what I was doing, and I thought that was a good idea. But my start was, I have no clue what authenticity is. I have really no clue. I do know, however, that if you are authentic, it even can get you fired. That's
That's true.
part of it. But somehow we all feel, otherwise you wouldn't be here, that it's so important to be it that we'll investigate. And I do know that if it's there, we recognize it.
Yeah. Wow.
That's all we have.
Mm-hmm.
So let's explore.
That's I think that's something that only a man can do in front of managers. If I would show up like that, people would go like, "What the fuck do you want? Do you want here?" Sorry for bringing this in, but wow, I love your approach, Floris. It's really great. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's only men though. I don't know what's masculine in this little thing.
Absolutely. No. That's not the thing. The thing is, if my experiences, and that's why I said sometimes I'm too weird, right? My experiences, if I show up like that, people are not like, oh yeah, come here and explain things to us, or we want to do this workshop with you. It's just like, that's too weird. But I know that men who are doing the same thing, or people who are being read as masculine or male, they are invited to do that stuff because they are trusted, even if they say I have no clue. If I say I have no clue, people believe me in a not a good way. You know?
You make a great point, because yes, there's a great point, and at the same time, there, of course, before I sold that workshop, there is a journey, because I also have to cross over the edge of he's too weird, or why would I, as a manager, go listen to a guy who's half an artist?
Yeah.
So. And it's also very cultural. That when I turned 50, suddenly people start to believe me much more. What the fuck?
I hear you.
Oh yeah, there's ageism, definitely.
And that's
Yeah, and
also
then-
roles and identities that we hold, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then male
They must not know what they're doing.
Yeah, age, gender.
Older. Oh, they must have a lot.
entitlement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I had, for the first time, it's also going to happen. Oh, Floris, so nice. You old people, you can sometimes be so charming in your, then because economically, if you're above a certain age, then economically you don't bring in so much money, because often our status is determined by how much money we bring in or earn.
Sure.
And then we have now the unless you're wise or have a status. Noam Chomsky, he has status, so we still listen to him. But if you're unknown and you're, let's say, 75 plus, it's charming that somebody still is wanted. Or once I was in Germany, and it also happened once or twice with Americans. I say something. Oh, how cute. He's from a little country and he also has an opinion.
Sure. It's all about that outside perception of who you may be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm loving this conversation, but it's nice and beautiful outside. So
Yeah.
I'm going to step away from the computer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Bree.
Go swimming as a dolphin.
Yeah. Goodbye,
Bye.
Tiger.
Can I be?
Good night.
Shoot, I wanted to be first. Now she
You-
went first.
She went first. She has to go out in the sun. The thing we've been out.
Yeah.
You have been out to the sun today?
No, yes, I have. I was out in the sun. I have to go to sleep because I have to be back up tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm also.
Mm.
I
But it's
hadn't
been,
expected to see. Can I say Ka, by the way, or is it Catherine?
No, you can say, please say Ka. We
Ka.
started that with that. I'm
Yeah.
Ka.
Yeah.
Now I remember what we talked about in Kiev. Like Ka, that's the name of the snake
In the Jungle Book.
in the Jungle Book. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's not related. I remember that talk as well.
It is.
It is related.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the
You mean chameleon, eagle, otter.
Mm.
So there's a fourth one hidden deeper.
yeah.
And what's it?
The snake, the big.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's where you. Yeah, sure. There's
Or is it a professional hat you can put on?
the Ka?
Yeah, the snake.
Nah.
No.
No, the professional head is rather the wolf,
Mm.
raven, spider. I don't know. There's so many animals within me.
Of course.
Reticulated python is the official name for Kaya.
Yes. Fun. And Captain Future.
Yeah.
Do you want to share your 3 animals with us?
My 3 animals, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, the first one that I talked about before, the otter, the space
Yeah.
otter, but the otter. And now I have to come up with my second.
Didn't you
Yeah.
play with us?
No,
No,
you
I
had
haven't
to.
played.
Yeah, but you already had to know them in your head.
Yeah, of
because
course
now
I know
you
them
the
in my
trick.
head.
And then you start to pinpoint what you would love them the position to be, and that's not how it works.
No, of course
Sorry.
not.
No.
You can never play this game again ever.
No, I played it before, long time
Okay.
ago. Yeah.
Okay. And then what was the 3?
The second one must have been. I'm going to do deep recall so I don't mess this up because I can't. But
Do you remember yours, Flores?
I remember. I was very happy. The first was not a bird because many people have that. I forgot the second, but the third I remember very well. That was, I think, the second one may have been a chipmunk,
Mm-hmm.
and the third was an elephant.
Oh, wow. Flores is the elephant in the room.
Yes, suddenly that has different meanings. Oh my
Yeah,
God!
absolutely. But that's good.
But the arguments for it were had to do with sensitivity, gentleness.
Memory.
No, but it's about the arguments I give. So it's not
Yeah.
about what you fill in, but
Okay.
it had to do with they have friendship and wisdom, and but mostly their incredibly sensitivity and kindness. I
Yeah.
think. And I would, and my outside is much more the chipmunk.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a root underneath, of course,
Mhm.
when we talk about. And if the root is gone, then of course my chipmunk becomes neurotic and irritating. So there has to be.
Probably quite exhausting too.
yeah.
Yeah, I recognized a little bit in Over the Edge. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. There's a chipmunk in.
Mm.
Holy shit! It's if you tip in chipmunk over the edge, over the hedge, and it's such incredible animation of HDAD full power.
Mm.
And in the movie, he's no, is it? And then at some point in the movie, he gets energy drink,
Oh my goodness.
and then he goes so wild. But it's the moment that he saves everyone, because he is so speeded up that the rest is like the whole world is in extreme slow motion. Well, you think, okay, let's do here. Oh no, I can look there. No, yeah, well. You know, oh here, and then whoop, and then I take this, and then I whoop, and I go that, and then and the meanwhile, reality. It's yeah, but also irritating.
Yeah, I think I remember now.
So I hope I can. Yeah. So tomorrow, I hope I can contain a little bit elephant style for the rest of the people, because if there's 50, then taking too much of the platform. I'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
So should we call it a day?
Yeah, we
Yes.
should. So I want to share my animals now, of course. So the first one is otter, and the second one is opossum, and the third one is crab, I think. Yeah.
But what are the arguments?
What are the arguments? Yeah, of course, the otter is like the playful animal who plays a lot, and for me, like the opossum is like also a playful and curious animal, and the crab is something like, yeah, when I go back to my childhood, I played a lot with crabs, and I was really fascinated with the type of silly crabs and stuff like that, like made up crabs. So that's like they go around clapping the claws and doing unconventional stuff, walking sideways.
Yeah.
And there you see, Captain Future is unconventional.
I am. No.
You are. Who goes talk to a minister in a suit, in a hero suit?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, so you're unconventional.
Yeah.
That's why we love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, girl, guys, plural works, and girl.
Yeah.
Guys works for me too.
I know.
Girl is more weird than guys.
Yeah. Okay. Sleep well.
Yeah. Good night, everyone, and thank you for staying with us so long.
Thanks for having
will be
us.
back live next week with Captain Future Show.
Good night.
Good night. Lovely to have so many fantastic guests here tonight. I can really say now that this is probably my best show ever, and I'm going to build upon this. Like, identity and roles is my domain that I've been thinking about playing with my whole life, and it really comes into fruition now. So it's been amazing to do like this show when I can try to keep the subject and the straight line of walking this line between identity roles and uniqueness and authenticity and everything. So the things I'm very interested in, and of course the things I want to talk more about with you. So if you want to be a guest at the Captain Future Show and talk more about identity roles, authenticity, and the roles we play in society, and the roles we're gonna need to invent, the silly roles that can become serious role, like climbing Mount Silly, please let me know, and we will talk next week or the coming week, and you can be a guest on the Captain Future Show talking about roles and identity. I love you all. Thank you for staying with me from the bottom of my heart. Let's make this a better world together.